Alright, Department of Energy G43014, September 2nd, 1999, Decommissioning Implementation Guide, Department of Energy, U.S. Department of Energy, Washington, D.C., 20585, Office of Field Integration, distribution of all the department elements initiated by Office of Field Integration. Alright, forward. The Department of Energy paid for the enormous staff of the disposition nations access facilities. Many of the facilities are large, comply with the contain potential head of the substance of the Department of Energy, complete with the mission, operation, declare for the exit, for the pass, for the transit, favor the ultimate, prepare for the disposition. Disposition favor the facility life cycle usually include deactivation, decommissioning, surveillance for the maintenance activities for the guidelines, foregone over the developed and provide implementation guide for the requirements from the Department of Energy 04301A life cycle. The assessment management system for the transaction disposition contain access facility. The guide of the Department Energy G43012 implementation guide for the surveillance mainly for the touring for the facility transition for the disposition. Department of Energy G43013 the activation implementation guide. Department of Energy G43014 decommission implementation guide. Department of Energy G43015 transition implementation guide. Go over the process described with the guides for the continuum with the hazard mitigation, risk reduction throughout the transition disposition favor the lead, the timely, cost-effective disposition facilities. Transition activities occur between the operation for the disposition facility life cycle. The transition begins with the ones for the facility have the declared forecast action for the excess current with the future for the Department of Energy needs includes planning facility stable conditions, identify habits, eliminating the utilizing and mitigation habit, the transferring problematic financial responsible for the operating program to the disposition program. Timely completion for the transition activities can advantage for the facility operation capabilities before they are lost, eliminated mitigation habit, and more efficient for the cost-effective manner. Preparation disposition phase is important for the material system and infrastructure stabilization activity to be initiated prior to the end of the facility operation, following with the operational shutdown transition. Fire first disposition activity usually would deactivate the facility with a deactivation mission to play for the facility in safe shutdown condition with economical monitoring with the maintain the extended period until eventual decommissioning of the facility. Deactivation contaminated accessible facilities should occur as reasonable with as many facilities as possible. In this way, the Department of Energy can apply with reasonable to accomplish greatest gains. Safety, stability with the shortest time of the activation can accomplish various activities planning the facility with low risk state with a minimum of the S&M. Final facility disposition activity time. Typical decommission of the facility is taken to the ultimate end of the through decontamination, dismantlement to demolition in 2 minutes after this commission is complete with the facility surrounding area that may require the Department of Energy control of the protection of public environment for the environmental remediation. S&M activities are conducted throughout the facility of the life cycle will include the facility with the operating with the non-expert for the operating check-in during the last period of the facility life cycle is important with the ensure the SSM and the adequate of the maintain the facility with the safety envelope during the final stage of the operations for the seamless transition to final disposition facility. S&M is adjusted during the facility life cycle transition to the activation decommission activities are complete. S&M activities include periodic inspection made with the structure of the system equipment to ensure the minimum that there is adequate containment of any contamination potential have of the work or the public environment or eliminated mitigating control. The technical managerial planning perspective officer for these guides can be equal to the effect of the conducting activities, transition, disposition, refurbishment, cleanup for the reuse, as such for the adaptation, but the guidance can result efficient results if it applies with facilities that are not being declared except for the important objective of the transition disposition continue to maintain an integrated seamless process linking deactivation decommissioning S&M with the previous life cycle phases. Activities facility transition disposition shall incorporate integrated safety management at all levels to provide with the cost-effective protection of the workers and public environment. Alright, Table 1, Introduction, Purpose, Alternative Methods Applicable. 2. Decommissioning activities general. The Department of Energy Environmental Policy and Protection Act policy with the decommissioning integrated safety management, the great approach. 3. Decommissioning framework. Applicable framework of regulatory scenario of the crossword of the Department of Energy is 04301A. Requirement of the Department of Energy G43014. Development endpoints. 4. Implementation decommissioning framework. Pre-decision determining action for the truth of the decommission alternative, the energy planning, the decommissioning operation, post-decommissioning action. Introduction. This guide will prepare with the aid, planning, implementation of the decommissioning activity. The Department of Energy facility that has declared the exit for the future mission with the requirements of the one of the four to develop and provide with the guidance of facility transition disposition activity of the Department of Energy G43012 with the implementation guide with the surveillance made with the during of the facility of the transition disposition. Department of Energy G43013, the deactivation implementation guide with the Department of Energy. 43015, transition implement guide. According to the discommission state with the Department of Energy order 43018, life cycle assessment management, which is deliver the minimum quantity disposition of each for the Department of Energy facility with the guides defined with the activities action, provide with the secure for the risk reduction, select with the disposition path with the Department of Energy directive systems with its consistent principle, the core function of the P450 or safety management system policy. Other documents should be consulted with the support with the plan conduct for the transition disposition activities Department of Energy standard with 11/20/98 integration environmental safety health facility disposition acts and with a good practice associated with life cycle assessment management. This guide for the implementation policy of this commission for the Department of Energy under the Comprehensive Environmental Response Composition Liability Act, May 22nd, 1995, commonly known as the Decommission Policy. The Decommission Implementation Guide of the Decommission Handbook of the Draft of the Department of Energy EM0383, the January 1999 Decommission Preferred Alternative of the Matrix of June 30th, 1997, on replaced with previously issued decommission reference manual with the Department of Energy EM0246 of August 1995, the Decommission Handbook with the Department of Energy EM01424, Department of Energy EM01422P, March 1994. Alright, the present decommission implementation guide deferred for the decommission resource of the manual of the Department of Energy EM0246, August 1995, which includes a variety of information for the interest potential for the decommission project managers and staff, material of the resource manual with the directly relates to implementation of the policy of the directive have incorporated within this guide, material of the resource manual, former handbook that has not directly relayed with the acceptable method of meeting program requirements is being complied with the present of the decommissioning handbook. It is information resource for the decommission projecting personnel with the material from former handbook dealing with the decommission technologies have been incorporated the decommission preferred alternative matrix. 1-2 alternative methods. Guide presents acceptable method of implementation of decommission for the process requirements specified with the life cycle assessment management that is effective to ensure efficient management of the Department of Energy accessible facility does not in itself impose additional requirement. The Department invested substantial time and effort to develop the decommissioning framework. 1. Meet the Department of Energy requirements and exemptions. 2. For the draw of the Department of Energy previous experience. 3. The response for the oversight with the need of the alternative of the methods approach. 1. Discover the guide may be due to the comparable amount of the time and effort may be to develop need to evaluate accessible over the alternatives. 1-3 applicability with the guide may be applied with the decommission activity process with the contaminated the Department of Energy facility with the contaminated refers to both radioactive contamination, hazardous substance contamination, nuclear facilities, non-nuclear contaminated facilities included. The scope of this product guide project with the aspect with the apply with a great approach in the planning with the conducting decommissioning activities in different type of the facility with the different hazard conditions. 2. Decommissioning activity general guidance.